Hey, good afternoon, homeschoolers. This is Kelly from the Everyday Homeschool. Today I've got a great topic for you. We're going to talk about morning routines and what can make them successful, and how I've incorporated something called loop schedules into our morning routine to give me a little bit more peace of mind. Right, so this is going to be a testament to the fact that you can teach old dogs new tricks, especially homeschool moms who've been doing it for a while. So it used to be that I had this morning routine that worked pretty well, and I enjoyed it. The only problem was that sometimes our morning routine was disrupted, and it would leave me feeling frustrated and like things were getting left out. And that, of course, results in feelings of guilt and a little more stress because you're wondering if you're getting it all covered. Well, just recently I came across this book that introduced a concept to me that I just really had never considered before that time. And it's this book right here. It's called Teaching from Rest, if you can see that. A Homeschooler's Guide to Unshakable Peace. And it's written by Sarah McKenzie. I'm not sure what the copyright date is. I don't think it's very old, 2015. So I put off reading this book for a long time because of the title. The title really just, I don't know, put me off. Teaching from Rest. I didn't really believe it could be done for a long time. And honestly, I still don't know if I totally agree. I have to say a lot of the things in here I don't agree with, but there is one thing that does help me teach from rest from her book, and that is the concept of loop schedules. Okay, so what's a loop schedule? Mine is up here. You can see it behind me. I'm pointing at it. It's on that green construction paper. I'm super fancy. I do everything really, really high end here, like with green construction paper. So that's my loop schedule. Let me pull it down. I'll show you what's on it. Okay, first I'll show you the old version. Right here, my 2018-2019 morning routine. So here's what we do. We start off, of course, with prayer. That's first thing of the day. Then we do the Pledge of Allegiance. We do that all together. And then we do a scripture or a thought. And we work on some memorization. So let me show you what I'm using for our scripture study this year in our homeschool. Okay, this is a resource that was put out by our church, which is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's called Come Follow Me for Individuals and Families. And this year we're studying the New Testament. So it's a wonderful study guide for families to learn the New Testament together as families in the home, which is wonderful because this is available online too for anybody who wants to use it. You can download it. There's actually an app for it too. And it's a wonderful resource regardless of what church you belong to. I mean, if you believe in the New Testament, then this could be a super helpful resource for you and your family. So I will link to this in the description below. Okay, so for memorization this entire school year, actually, we are working on memorizing this very long passage. It's called The Living Christ, the testimony of the apostles of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So you can see this is marked up. I usually choose a section of it. You can see the sections I've outlined here. And then I write it up on our whiteboard and we memorize it a chunk at a time. And we keep the chunks up there until we feel like we've really got it. And one fun thing that we do as we're memorizing is we use hand motions and hand signs that we make up ourselves to memorize the different parts of the passage. So that's fun because we all get to work together, and then you know, by the time we've got it all memorized and we all know the hand motions, we look pretty synchronized. We look pretty cool. And it's 2.5 pages long, so it's taken us some time, but we're in no rush. Okay. So once we have gone through our prayer and our pledge, our scripture or spiritual thought, our memorization, then we move into what I now call our loops. And loops are just what we do every morning now together at the group table before we all start our independent work. So in loop A, I've got things that are kind of more fun, a little bit less, maybe perhaps less on the academic side and more just on the supportive of your education kind of side. And loop B, those are a little bit heavier in the academics. So in loop A, we've got a read aloud, and then we go to math, games, and songs. Then we go back to read aloud, then music appreciation, read aloud, and game day. So you'll notice that every other day we have a read aloud day, and that is because when the kids were younger, I was really good about reading aloud to them every day. And somehow as kids got older and we added more kids and I got busier, the ReadALouds unfortunately took a bit of a back seat. And I really want to make sure that it was incorporated into our schedule. So now it is. It's in our loops. All right, so going back to the math games and songs. Well, right now, let me show you what we're reading for our read aloud. This is the second book. It's like a sequel. It's The War I Finally Won. And the prequel, I forget what it was called. The War That Saved My Life, which was excellent. We actually listened to that in the car. And this one we're reading out loud together in school. So that's a wonderful book if you're looking for a good read aloud. The math games and songs, the songs are the Times to Remember songs. I'll link to that too. And we just supplement those. Those are great for helping your kids remember their math facts. And there was one summer where I just didn't do anything but math facts for my one of my kids. And the math games, wow, we've got a lot of really good fun math games. If you go look on my blog, you'll see a few math games that we've done lately. We also just do some homemade bingo math games. We do use a few of the games from the Right Start math game book, which I will show you. Okay, so math card games. This goes with the Right Start math program. I don't use this a lot, but it does come in handy. All right, now for music appreciation, we use, oops, upside down, this book right here. This is Lives of the Musicians, and I think there may be a newer edition out these days. And I mentioned this book in a previous video that I'll link to in an iCard up above when I talked about our art programs that we like. This is part of a curriculum called Harmony Fine Arts. I'm not doing Harmony Fine Arts this year, but I am pulling out some of the resources from that curriculum to do music appreciation in our loop schedule. So I really like this. We pick one guy to read about, and then we listen to some of his music. And while we are listening to the book and then later listening to the music, I have the kids pull out one of these cards and then they sketch it in their notebook. So it gives them something to do, keeps them busy while they're listening, right? It gives them, gets more of their senses involved and helps keep the room a little quieter while I'm trying to read out loud. So these are fun. I will also, again, I'm going to link to everything in the description below, so go ahead and take a look down there for links to all these resources. I'm sure you can find them. I get pretty much everything on Amazon, so I'll just link to that. Yes, I'm an Amazon affiliate, so if you do click those links, it does help me, and I appreciate that very much. Okay, so referring back to Loop A, you'll notice here that we've got Game Day, which is my kids' favorite day, and I'll show you some of the games that we play on Game Day. This one here, sometimes I use this for Game Day, but more often we just use it with our history curriculum from the Good and the Beautiful. We are using Good and the Beautiful History Year 1 this year. I should do a separate video on that because I have some mixed feelings about it, but they do have a really cool game that comes with that curriculum. So we usually play it with our history, but sometimes we do play it on Game Day also. Some of our favorite games for Game Day are the noggin games, if you're familiar with these. These are the two that we are using this year, Ancient Civilization and American Revolution. So these are fun and they're really beautifully made, which is one thing I like about them. They're nice, thick, sturdy cards, and they're appealing to my preschooler. And this is a game that we feel like we can kind of include her in. You know, a lot of times we'll just have her roll the dice, and then if we get a match or something, we let her hold it in front of her. It helps her feel included, and she likes the cards because they're so pretty. This is a really fun game for learning logic, and it says it's a brain teaser kind of game. It's really fun. Cart before the horse. This one, we've had it for a long time. It's from, where is it from? Mindware. And it says it's for ages 8 and up, but I'm pretty sure like a first grader could handle it, especially the easier ones. It has different levels of difficulty. The harder ones are pretty hard. Like I can't do them all sometimes, but they're fun. This is a good one for learning U.S. geography that we play on Game Day. It's called Borderline, card game, simple. And another one Remember, I'm big on US anything, geography, history, music, whatever, art. So yeah, the Scrambled States of America game. There's my little friend. Hi, Ivy. You want to say hi? It's got the Best Toy Award, and this was actually part of a unit that we did for Moving Beyond the Page. I forget which one, but it's fun. My son really enjoyed learning this card game during his unit, and now we use it on game day. Speaking of Moving Beyond the Page, we are currently using one of their units for chemistry, which is part of a different loop that we do. So in that chemistry unit, we have just recently learned how to play the game Valence. This game is fun, and it's really educational. It's kind of hard to learn all the rules at first, and I actually plan to do a video on how to play this game, or what you can watch us play this game and kind of... This is great. I would encourage anyone and everyone to grab, if you're doing chemistry with your kids, they'll love this, and they'll be picking up chemistry concepts without even realizing it. So it says this is for ages 8 and up. I would probably stick with that recommendation. It can get a little bit complicated, but it's super fun. Oh, this is something I was going to show you too about math. This book, the book of Perfectly Perilous Math, 24 Death-Defying Challenges. This book we just recently got. It came in one of the what is it? Like, it's those little science packages where you have a science lesson and a project, and it comes with some reading material. Anyway, we just got this book, and I'm going to start incorporating it into our math game day when we focus on math games. So I'm excited to use this. Those were all the components of our Loop A on the old schedule that I had. I recently revamped at the beginning of the year and kind of redid our loops, and I split it from 2 loops into 3 loops, and I'll explain why when in one of the next videos that I do when I get to doing Loop B. Today is just about Loop A. But I am now trying to incorporate some movement into our morning routine by putting yoga on our Loop A. Loop A, again, is just kind of our more lighthearted, fun introduction to the day. And so to incorporate yoga into our day, I just plan to use some free kid-friendly yoga programs that are on YouTube. So here's the benefit of using loop schedules in your morning routine. It used to be when before I discovered loops, I would have a subject or topic to cover each day of the week. So Monday would be our group science, Tuesday would be history, Wednesday would be art, Thursday would be music, Friday would be history. Or I don't know, maybe I repeated myself. But there was a day of the week for each thing I wanted to cover in our group time. Well, what happens when someone is sick on Thursday? You miss out on that subject. What happens when you have co-op every Friday? Well, you're going to always miss the subject on that day. What happens when you have a sudden need for a doctor appointment? There's no flexibility. That's my point. There's no flexibility without the loop schedule. So I found that introducing the loop schedule to our morning routine just created a ton of flexibility and relieved my sense of obligation to stick to having one subject on each day. So now things are different, because if it so happens that we miss our read aloud today because the baby was sick this morning, that's okay. I will just leave my clothespin there and we'll get to it tomorrow. There's no need to associate or correspond an activity with a day of the week. It just, whenever you get to it is when you get to it, and whenever it loops back around is when you get to it. So if you did get to it, then you just move the clothespin down to the next thing on your loop, and that will be your next loop activity when you get to Loop A the next time. So it gives you the flexibility to move things around. Hey, it's evening time now, and I'm waiting to pick up my kids from church youth night. So I'm in the parking lot waiting for them. And while I was waiting, I thought I might share with you one more thing I was thinking about as far as benefits of using the loop schedule in your homeschool day, especially in your morning routine. And that is the fact that it adds so much variety to your homeschool days. You know, depending on how long you want to make your loops, it could be 2 weeks before you come back and revisit something in your loop for a second, third, fourth time. So it keeps things fresh, it keeps things interesting, it helps your kids kind of look forward to, hey, what loop are we on this morning? What are we going to do today? They can always check the schedule and see for themselves too, but I think it's just a really fun way to add the spice of variety into your day. The other thing I was thinking is that it's such a great way for me to be able to make better use of and utilize all the materials that I've been able to accumulate over the years. You know, sometimes I have these really wonderful resources that maybe I've tried a couple times, but then I wonder how I can better utilize and better make use of the great resources that I have. It feels overwhelming sometimes. You have all these great things that you want to use with the kids, but you don't want to feel scattered. You don't want to feel random in the way you use them. So the Loop provides a really great framework for you to be able to incorporate a wide variety of things into your homeschool routine without feeling scattered. So it's really just the flexibility that the Loop schedule offers that relieves my mental stress, which then in turn makes our homeschool a nicer, funner place to be. I love Loop schedules. I don't know why it took me so long to figure them out or to even hear about them. So I'm passing this on to you in case you haven't heard about them yet. I strongly encourage you to give it a try. See how it works out in your morning routine, or maybe you have another way to incorporate it. Maybe this would be useful in the way you do family chores, or the way your kids handle their independent work. Maybe they need a Loop schedule for their independent work. Maybe that would help free things up for your kids and for you. Anyway, I hope that using a Loop schedule will be useful to you, and maybe some of the resources that we shared, some of the games that we play, some of the books that we read are fun for you too. So be sure to check out all the links and resources that I've included in the description. And next time I'll be covering Loop B and Loop C, so you can see how the rest of our morning routine works with Loop schedules. And until then, of course, just keep learning.